Hi, welcome back to the Blind LP of Eagle Eye Mysteries in London. Today we are going to do Case of the Cairo Curse. It's kind of slightly raining a bit, but now that I realized it, I think I hear some people knocking on things. So give me a moment while I close my window. Alright, I'm back. Hopefully it's better now. Yeah, because I would rather my window opened, but I guess it can't be helped. So let's begin on Case of the Cairo Curse. And I'm not sure whether I'm hoping for the hieroglyphics thing to happen again or not, but we'll see. I mean, it's kind of fun, but yeah, it wasn't accurate when I searched on the net. Oh look, it's Anm, and my mouse is not working properly. Oh, there we are. Jennifer, are you and Mustakazi in the mood for a real treat? Yes, I am. Come on, Jennifer. Always, Anam. What's up? The British Museum is opening a brilliant new exhibit from the Valley of the Kings in Egypt. The press have been invited in for a pre-opening peek, and I've got extra passes. If you hurry, you two can be my guests. Alright. Excellent. I love Egyptian stuff. Jake will be so bummed that he missed this. He's nuts about mummies and all that gold they buried with them. Did Jake join us for the hieroglyphic hint? Or was that Jennifer? I'd have to check back. Okay, let's go. This is cool. Nope, wait. Alright. This is cool. I've never been to a pre-opening press party before. We're the first kids in London to see this exhibit. Okay. Yeah, it's kinda cool, isn't it, Jennifer? Yes, we've moved some of our permanent Egyptian antiquities collection here to make room for the new exhibit. I'm sure you'll be pleased. It truly is the most magnificent collection of Egyptian treasures I've ever seen. Mr. Grange, is it true that the museum has been experiencing strange accidents since the mummy's arrival? I didn't hear about that, Aunt Em. You kept that from us. Do you believe this has anything to do with the curse? Curse? My dear Miss Eagle, surely an intelligent modern woman like yourself doesn't believe in ancient Egyptian curses. The museum has had a few minor mishaps since the exhibit's arrival, but nothing unexpected. With an exhibit of this size and importance, there are bound to be a few injuries and accidents moving the huge statues and sarcophagi, maybe. Can you give us more detail on these accidents, Mr. Grange? Nothing out of the ordinary, I assure you. A careless worker hurt his arm when he didn't check the ropes holding up one of the largest statues. He's fine now, and thankfully the statue was unharmed. Alright. It looks like I can go in both sides. Let's go in this side. Alright, let's check out the exhibit. Wow, look at all this gold. These ancient Egyptian pharaohs must have been loaded. But what's all that commotion? Oh my god. What's all that commotion? Suddenly I'm confused. I'm not sure how to pronounce that suddenly. This is an outrage. I insist that the entire exhibit be examined and re-catalogued so that we may be sure that no other pieces are missing. Mr. Sim, I assure you that the museum has taken extreme care to ensure that our artifacts have been kept safe. This piece of must simply have been misplaced in the transportation. It was stolen, I tell you. Someone has made of it the heart of I'm not sure. If it is not found by nightfall, I'll see to it that the entire exhibit is shipped back to Egypt, where it belongs. Alright, let's hear from you. This is a nightmare. How can it have happened? Percy Tribe oversaw the entire shipment personally. I'll have his aid if he's lost the heart of Achamet. Oh, come on, it's Percy Tribe. So far he hasn't been involved in any sort of crime yet. Each and every one of the artifacts found in Achamet's tomb is a priceless treasure. The Egyptian government was kind enough to lend us the greatest find of our century. Let's go. I catalogued each of these pieces myself and as you can see, my records list 5 canopic jars. Here there are only 4. These jars are priceless antiquities. They date back to a time before civilization had even begun in this country. Alright. The missing jar contains the mummified heart of Queen Achamet, an irreplaceable treasure. As representative of the Egyptian National Trust, I am responsible for the safety of the exhibit every moment it is out of Egypt. Good luck to you. If the heart of Achamet is not found by nightfall, I'll be forced to order the entire exhibit to be returned to Egypt. I cannot risk any other treasures being stolen. Do you really think that someone stole it? Maybe it's just lost. It is possible, I suppose, that the piece was lost. But that only proves that the British Museum is incapable of properly looking after the exhibit. Each tiny piece of this exhibit is priceless. Its value cannot be measured because the pieces are so rare and so ancient that they are completely irreplaceable. Collectors will pay unbelievable sums for artifacts of this age and perfection. I believe someone stole the canopic jar containing the heart of Achamet. I'm just going to change how I pronounce it every time. And sold it. In any case, I'm going to return immediately to the Ritz Hotel and inform my investor, Miss Sirena, of this incident. I shall also call Mr. Amesbury, our other investor at the Phaeton Club, and suggest... I feel like I've searched Phaeton before and I'm probably pronouncing it wrongly. And suggest that we make arrange to move the exhibit back to Cairo tomorrow. This looks... oh, okay. I thought it was like something I can't see. An evidence I can't see. Alright, let's look at this. Wow, look at this, Takaze. The mummy of Achamet. The mummy has been partially removed from its linen wrappings. The skin is dark and dry, but remains remarkably preserved. Yikes! Yikes! I can't believe this person was a real queen of Egypt thousands of years ago. The elaborate gold and inlaid outer coffin of the mummy is called a sarcophagus. It is made in the shape of the mummy's body and painted with many colorful symbols. Painted scenes showing sacrifices being offered to the god Horus and to Anubis, god of the dead, cover the lower half of the sarcophagus. The face of the sarcophagus has been painted to resemble the person buried within. A scarab, symbol of the sun god, adorns the spot above the mummy's heart. Wow! Wow! If Achamet really looked like this, she was beautiful. The canopic jars are... okay, here we are. The canopic jars are hollow containers carved from alabaster. They contain the organs of the dead person that were removed during the mummification process. The 4 jars on display are sealed with carved lids shaped like animal heads, a falcon, a jackal, a baboon, and a man. That's Anubis. I don't know the rest. Shaped here are little figures in the likeness of the person who has died. They are buried in the same tomb as the dead person's mummy. The Egyptians believed that once people reached the afterlife, they might be asked to work in fields, hoeing and harvesting like people do on Earth. Alright, it was thought that the Shaptis would perform these tasks instead of the dead person. A gold statue of Hathor, the goddess of love, beauty, and dancing, stands beside the sarcophagus of Achamet. Wow, that is so awesome! It must be worth a fortune. The guidebook says that the Egyptians just loved gold. They got lots of it from mines between the Nile River and the Red Sea. They were also really into stones like lapis lazuli. That's a rich blue stone there, and carnelian, the orange red one here. The guidebook says that the Egyptians were able to get a lot of these gems from the deserts. Oh my god. From the deserts that surrounded them. But they were also so wealthy that they were able to buy pretty much whatever else they wanted from other countries. Alright, we'll go back out. Great idea, Stagaze. We'll sneak down to the curator's office and see if we can help find the missing jar. By sneaking down? Mr. Tripp must have heard about the missing canopic jar. He looks pretty freaked out. I bet it's him. Come on, cheer up. Oh gods, what will I do? I've checked every shipping label and every receipt and every leftover bit of packing material, and I can't find a trace of this missing bottle or jar or whatever it is. Buckley will sack me for sure. He's just been waiting for an opportunity to have me out of the way. He's nervous that I'll be noticed by the board and promoted to curator myself. I'm doomed. Well, that's just it. He's just talking to himself. Well, that's just it, isn't it? I mean, that's just it. It's obvious, isn't it? I'm doomed. I helped arrange the mummy's departure from Egypt, and now the old hag's taking her revenge. It's the curse of the mummy. She's found a way to get herself back home. You don't strike me as someone who believes in the curse. She's managed to psychically disintegrate every trace of the canopic jar containing her heart. That way, the Egyptian government will insist that that fellow as Asim bring her back to her tomb in Cairo. Oh, but why me? Why must these things always happen to me? I wish I'd never seen that filthy old mummy. How about you? Well, I did warn Curator Buckley to put me in charge of the exhibit's security. My boys would look after this lot proper, not like that Mr. Sim. If he hadn't been so insistent about having his own people move and guard the things, we might have prevented this. So he uses his own guard. Though it wouldn't surprise me a bit if that Tweet Trib had managed to lose the thing. Couldn't tell hedgehogs from badgers, that one, let alone work out which of 1,000 boxes had or hadn't been unpacked. Mind you, they'll most likely find that old job out back in the dustbin tomorrow, still weighted up in packing paper. They'll get Trip his comeuppance. You don't get along, do you? A clipboard holds the records of the exhibit's transfer from Cairo to London. It contains Percy Tripp's sloppy notations and the precise neat records of Mr. Asim. Percy's notes show no trace of a fifth canopic jar being installed in the museum exhibit. According to his notes, 4 canopic jars were unpacked from a crate. A copy of Mr. Asim's records is attached. They clearly showed that a box containing 5 canopic jars was delivered to the museum. The receipt for the jars is signed by Mr. Asim himself. The transport log says that the only people who were allowed access to the exhibit during the move were Mr. Asim, Marcus Amesbury, Miss Serena, and Percy Tripp. A contract attached to the move agreement records that Miss Serena and Miss Marcus Amesbury will get a percentage of the profits from the ticket and souvenir sales. The British Museum and the Egyptian government share the rest, so they get profits. How strange. There is a letter from Miss Dunbar of Madame Tussauds Wax Museum on Curator Buckley's desk. Miss Dunbar? Okay. The letter thanks Curator Buckley for kindly allowing Madame Tussauds staff to examine the Archimedes exhibit before it opens. Miss Dunbar assures Curator Buckley that the utmost care was taken to make their wax copies of the exhibit as realistic as possible. Looks like Madame Tussauds has set up a wax exhibit based on the Archimedes treasures. Maybe we should go check that out. Maybe we should. Miss Zumba might have something for us. We haven't checked the other room though. Oh, alright. Good idea, Sakaze. We can learn more about the ancient Egyptians in the British Museum's library. Mr. Sneed, are you in here? No, you're not. I haven't seen you in a while. Looks like Mrs. Sneed has set up a display of ancient Egyptian stuff for people checking out the new exhibit. We can just browse through that. The ancient Egyptians had a very advanced society almost 4,500 years ago. While the people of England were just learning to use bronze tools, the Egyptians were building the huge pyramids of Cheops or something and the majestic Sphinx. The pyramids were so well designed that they have survived thousands of years of desert winds and sandstorms. The huge monuments are still considered one of the wonders of the world. The kingdom of Egypt was built around the Nile Valley. The huge river flooded its banks yearly and depositing rich silt, I'm not sure what silt either, that made the banks of the Nile some of the most fertile farmland in the ancient world. Because the Egyptians could grow enough food for themselves with plenty left over, they became very wealthy trading. They became very wealthy trading that extra food for goods from other poorer countries. A great civilization grew up around the fertile Nile Valley, developing surprisingly advanced systems of science, medicine, literature, art, and mathematics. We are lucky enough to know a great deal about this ancient culture partly because of the Egyptians' preoccupation with death and the afterlife. Because they believed that the spirits of the dead needed the same kind of comforts that people had in life, many everyday items were buried in the great tombs of the pharaohs and preserved for us to examine. Tools, toys, furniture, jewelry, scrolls, and statues found in these tombs tell us what life in Egypt must have been like thousands of years ago. Because the Egyptians were finally conquered by the Romans, the memory of their culture may have disappeared forever if they had not left such detailed accounts of it in the houses of their dead.
Cool!
Oh, cool! This book's all about how mummies are made. I bet it's full of gross stuff. I bet you like that. Because the ancient Egyptians believed that they would need their bodies again in an afterlife, the bodies of the dead were carefully preserved. In the time of embalmment, organs like the lungs, liver, and intestines were removed and sealed in 4 canopic jars. The lids of these jars were carved in the images of Horus's 4 sons, a falcon, a baboon, a jackal, and a man. Ew, eek! The heart was removed and cleaned with perfumed oils and palm wine, then replaced inside the mummy's body so that Anubis, the god of the dead, could weigh it against the feather of truth. Alright? If the dead person's deeds were good, the pure heart would balance on the scales, and he or she would be welcomed into the afterlife. Once the body was cleaned and prepared, it was then packed in a crystal powder called natron to dry. When the dried body was removed from the natron, a special ceremony called opening the mouth was performed by the priests. The Egyptians believed this would magically allow the mummy to eat, drink, and move around in the afterlife. Finally, the mummy was carefully wrapped in strips of linen and placed in a specially decorated coffin or sarcophagus. The Egyptians believed that, preserved in this way, a person's body could be a home for their spirit forever. I don't know about forever, Sakaze, but some of the mummies here at the museum are thousands of years old. Those Egyptians really knew that stuff. Yeah, they do. Pretty. Oh, well, the hieroglyphics. Alright, let's see. This scroll is written in hieroglyphics, the picture alphabet of ancient Egypt. The scroll itself is made from papyrus or something like that, a reed found in the Nile Valley that the Egyptians turned into paper. The translation of the hieroglyphics is attached. The scroll reads, Akhmet, the beloved of Ra, beloved of Horus, dances into the west, dances into the fragrant garden of the gods, brightest of the stars of Egypt, Akhmet, beloved of the gods. Anubis guard her resting place. Let not strangers enter the house of the dead. Crush he who would disturb the sleep of Akhmet. Death to him who would take her from her secret place. A note under the translation says that this scroll was found just outside the sealed doors of Akhmet's tomb. It is believed to be a curse left there by her priests. Wow, a real Egyptian curse. That's all you have to say? Aren't you gonna say like, oh dear, I hope we don't get cursed or something? Well, we are not the ones who disturbed it, so I guess. Wow, there's a lot of places. Ritz Hotel. For some reason. There he is. Mr. Asim and Miss Sirena, I don't know, Sirena, I'm just gonna go Sirena, are staying here at the Ritz while they're in London. Nothing but the best for them. Oh god. I'm very disturbed by this careless handling of my country's treasures. I warned my superiors at the Egyptian National Trust that if we took Queen Akhmet out of the country, this was bound to happen. This entire venture was a mistake. From the start, there were signs of trouble. Miss Sirena, our esteemed investor, promised to pay for the transportation of the treasures herself in exchange for a percentage of the total profits. But at the last moment, her finances fell through, and we were forced to ask for Mr. Amesbury's help. I was not given the time to check into his background at all. Our need was so great. Now that we are finally here, someone has stolen one of Akhmet's priceless treasures. Who knows? Perhaps more of the treasures have been stolen or replaced by fakes. I myself will carefully check each piece before we return to Egypt. And let me assure you, we will be returning immediately. I cannot risk another theft. Alright, hi. I've had enough about enough of Mr. Sim and his suspicions. I put everything I had into this project, and now it looks as if he's going to pack it all up and have it sent back to Egypt before anyone ever sees it. I won't make any money on this at all if they don't open it to the public and charge the admission fee we agreed upon. If this exhibit doesn't open, I'll sue that nincompoop Buckley and his museum for every pound they've got. That fool trip better have an explanation. I don't want to hear another word from him about the mummy's curse. Pretty short. Phaeton clock. Mr. Asim said that Marcus Amesbury helped to finance the mummy exhibit. Let's see what he knows about the canopic jar and the mummy's curse. Curse? What drivel? Rubbish thought up by the press agents to sell more tickets. Not that I mind. The more gawkers in the doors, the more lolly for me. All of these old Egyptian pharaohs had curses written to protect their tombs. They really believed in all that magic and hocus pocus. Balderdash, I say. Besides, curses have people dropping dead or being carted off by walking mummies or something, don't they? This missing jar sounds more like carelessness than curses, if you ask me. Then you don't think anyone stole it? A moldy old jar with a dried up heart in it? I should think not. If someone Let's continue. If someone had ions anything in that exhibit, it'd be some of that lovely coal. Oh, I guess he has his eye on the gold. Fabulous great piles of gold. Everywhere you look, there are glittering statues, jewelry, and masses of little trinkets studded with precious gems. That's what a thief would go for. It's such a cool exhibit. Are they really going to pack it all up and send it back to Cairo now? It's up to Asim, I'm afraid. We had a time and a half getting him to agree to let him himself out of Egypt at all, you see. Seems he's really here under protest. Asim runs a Akhmet museum and apparently he's got quite a stick in it. Every tourist through its doors is money in his pocket. I'm sure he'd rather the exhibit was there making him money in Cairo. But when all's said and done, the artifacts belong to the Egyptian government and they decided that a touring exhibit would be great publicity for them. Okay, so maybe Mr. Asim has a motive? Alright, the last stop, Madame Tussauds. Huh, check it out! That mummy, sarcophagus, looks just like the one in the British Museum. I saw something strange. I saw that actually, but we'll talk to her first. Give me a hand here, Astrid dear, won't you? I just got to get this headpiece straight. Oh, hello, Sakaze. Hello, Jennifer. How are you today? Great, thanks. We've just come to check out your mummy display. It looks exactly like the one at the British Museum. Yes, we studied the mummy and sarcophagus of Akhmet very carefully so that we'd get all the details right. We even get copies of X-rays from the Egyptian National Trust. The mummy and her artifacts are very fragile, so our staff weren't allowed to handle them in any way, but with the help of photographs and videotape, I think our sculptors have done a superb job. Indeed, it looks superb. The wax sarcophagus is an exact duplicate of the original at the British Museum. Metallic paints have been used to make the wax look like gold. Plastic gems and stones have been used to imitate the jewels of the original. Interesting. Astrid. This display has been giving me the horrors. The sarcophagus and all that goodies are all right, but the mummy, just a wax copy, is creepy enough to keep me up at night. I suppose I've just watched too many Boris Karloff films, but I keep expecting it to come to life and take some horrible revenge on the people who disturbed this rose. You know, when we were getting all the snaps and videos to work from, I heard there had been quite a few mysterious accidents since Queen Akhmet came to stay. Do you suppose there's a curse on the British Museum since they moved her out of a tomb? I just hope wax copies don't come for curses. Nah. If you like, come and have a look in the back room where we get all together. Just be careful not to touch anything. Miss Dunbar would have a right taste. Wait, I haven't not checked. Never mind. This is definitely the first time we've been here. This place always gives me the creeps. Those heads look real too real. What do you have there? The X-rays of the mummy from the Egyptian National Trust shows outlines of bones and other dark shapes under the mummy wrappings. Astrid, what are those lumps in the mummy's bandages? According to the Egyptian National Trust notes, they're bits of jewelry and ornaments. The Egyptians loaded up their date with lovely things that they thought they would enjoy in the afterlife. They unwrapped and examined all this, but we're sculpting our wax mummy to look just as she would have in her tomb. See, if you look carefully, you can see the massive rings on her fingers and the jeweled heart scarab on her chest. What's a heart scarab? Oh, the Egyptians were mad about scarabs. They made all kinds of jewelry and magical items in the shape of scarabs. Brilliant stuff, I think, and quite fashionable today as well. Real scarabs were these horrid great big beetles that rolled a ball of dung with their eggs in it across the desert sands. Disgusting, but the Egyptians thought that a giant scarab rolled the sun across the sky. So, to them it was a very powerful symbol. The heart scarab's got a funny little story to it. It was wrapped tight against the real heart of the mummy and had an inscription on it saying something to the effect of, "Don't tell on me in the afterlife." The heart scarab? Huh? Since the Egyptians thought that their hearts would be weighed by the gods after they died, they wanted to be sure that their hearts wouldn't tell any of the awful things they did in life. I suppose they imagined that they'd be there in the court of Anubis. He's a head creepy-looking man with a jackal head, and their hearts would suddenly pipe up something like, "Don't let us straight into the afterlife. She used to binge her brother's chocolates." Oh, you did you? On the work table there is a small wax display of ancient Egyptian cosmetics. I read about this stuff in the British Museum's guidebook. The ancient Egyptians were really into makeup and fashion. Even men wore makeup and wigs. They used eye paints made out of mineral powders and curled their hair with metal tongs. Some of the women had such fancy hairdos that they slept propped up on wooden headrests, so that they wouldn't mess up their hair. Archaeologists found all this stuff, eye makeup, hair colors, combs, and perfume in the tombs. So I guess the Egyptians thought they would need them in the afterlife too. Okay. One more. This. The display contains a collection of 4 canopic jars. These canopic jars are wax copies of the originals, except that there should be 5. The fact that there is 4 means when they were dead, there were already only 4. Alright, give me a moment. Let me just have a drink. Alright, let me just make sure there's nothing outside. Alright, guess not. Let's just get to solving. It's a bit vague, you see. It's like... it might be Mr. Asim. What's that? Oh, my bad. Well then. So that leads me out to the world map, or rather the country map. Alright, let's just solve. I'm going to assume that it's Mr. Asim, because so far he's the only one that would benefit from it. So if we could just find... yes, alright, so he's losing money. And... was not given enough time to check out on Mr. Amesbury. No. The Wax Museum's Akhmet display contains... I think this is important, but I'm not sure how. I guess I'll have to find one which says there's supposed to be 5 jars. Should it be at the front? Sees that a 5th canopic jar is missing from the exhibit. It was already 4. So each of the items in this exhibit is priceless. No. I mean they are, but no, that's not what I need. And well, the items, a scroll to find, nope. The Egyptians became very wealthy, nope. Preserved, nope, that's not what I need. Oh wait, in the time of Akhmet, organs like the lungs, liver, and intestines were removed and sealed in 4 canopic jars. How did I miss that? I'm pretty sure I read it all out. I guess I just didn't absorb it. The heart was cleaned, then replaced inside the mummy's body. Oh, there were originally only 4 anyway. I thought it just went missing before it arrived there, but basically it was 4 and he's lying. Alright, that makes things easier. So, well, we need something with the heart, I guess. Those clues don't add up. Alright. Alright. I'll do it. So, he said a 5th canopic jar was missing, and then he said that There's and in the time of Ahmed there were 4 jars. Alright? I guess this one isn't important. Alright, so but no. Percy Trips lists only 4 canopic jars. Mr. Asim signed and says there's 5, which is wrong. Yeah, I need the proof from the British Museum. I mean the Wax Museum. There we go. That's it. That's it! Now point out who you think masterminded the scheme. If you think that Akhmet's curse is responsible, pick Akhmet for herself. Pick Akhmet herself. No, it's Mr. Asim.
You got it!
You got it! There was no 5th canopic jar. Akhmet's heart is inside her mummy. Mr. Asim started making a fuss because he said that the 5th canopic jar, the one holding the heart of Akhmet, was missing from the exhibit. But we learned in the library that in Akhmet's day, the heart of the mummy was not put in a canopic jar at all. The Egyptians believed that the heart had to be weighed by Anubis to see if it was pure, so they left it inside the mummy. I'm not sure how I missed that. Akhmet's mummy even had a special scarab placed over the heart to tell it not to give away any secrets to the gods. Mr. Amesbury told us that Mr. Asim was losing money every day that the Akhmet exhibit was out of Egypt because he owns the museum in Cairo that makes a lot of money when the exhibit is there. The real proof was that Mr. Asim's records list the 5th canopic jar with a receipt for it signed by himself. How can he have signed for something that didn't exist? Because he's a liar. Mr. Asim wanted to find a way to get Akhmet back to Cairo as soon as possible. By making it look as though the British Museum had lost a piece of the exhibit, he could force them to return it right away. He knew that they would never be able to find the canopic jar he listed as missing because it never existed. Akhmet's heart is still inside her mummy, but it's been for 4,000 years. What a liar. Would he be found out about that in Egypt? I'm sure the Egyptians would know. Detectives Starkazi Gamer and Jennifer Eagle of America's Eagle Eye Detective Agency solved the mystery surrounding the disappearance of a supposed artifact from the New Treasures of Akhmet exhibit at the British Museum. Museum curator Hargreaves gushed. Starkazi saved our skins. She used her knowledge of ancient Egypt to figure out that the missing piece could not have existed. The fraud was set up to force the museum to return the exhibit to Egypt immediately to profit the greedy Cairo museum owner. Why do we not have a picture of our own? I feel so sad. Wish we could have a picture of our own, but I guess that would be a bit impossible because we do not even have avatars of our own. Alright, so that was a slightly longer case than usual. So for the next episode, we will be taking on case of the Wax Whodunit case. So until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.